Hey, Delilah.
Say hi.
Delilah is in hog heaven here at this campground. She remembers.
She remembers this campground.
Yeah, don't you?
Yep.
Oh, now,
Nope, enough of that.
She realized she was on camera, so then she had to go. Yeah. But anyway, she wants to go outside before the sun comes up, and of course I tell her no, and then she stomps off like a teenage girl, like.
But there's critters out.
But the other cats get to go out, and I don't get to. It's like having a teenage daughter. Sometimes it really is.
Sometimes.
Anyway, it's a beautiful afternoon.
It is gorgeous.
At the campground right now. A lot of folks are down at the Itchituckney River kayaking today, and we've got several followers here already. And around Friday, a bunch more start coming in. Coming in. Did I say that? I said.
You said that.
I actually let it. Yeah, coming in. But the nights have been a little nippy the last couple nights or so, but the days are warming up quite nicely, up into the low 70s.
Yes.
Yeah, we just hate that, don't we?
Oh yeah.
Hear it.
Absolutely hate it.
And of course, we're sitting here at the campground, Itchituckney Family Canoe and Cabins, which is near Fort White, Florida, and the rendezvous begins in just a few days. Today is Valentine's Day, is that right?
Today is Valentine's Day.
Well, it's the 14th of February then, isn't it?
Yes.
We don't keep track of that kind of stuff.
I believe. Let's see.
Yeah.
Actually, our rendezvous will start a week from yesterday.
That's true. Starts next Monday.
Monday.
Today is Tuesday, February 14th.
Yes.
But anyway, what we thought we might talk about today, and what's interesting about this is we are coming up on in just right at 2 weeks, little bit more than 2 weeks, we'll mark our 4th year full timing.
Yes.
Like we do.
Yes.
And it's interesting. Sometimes we'll see a comment on one of our videos, and I'm thinking, that would be a great subject to talk about. And we're just going to start talking about this off of the cuff. But let me read this comment. And this is from one, she comments quite often. It is a lady, and she comments quite often on our videos, and we appreciate you so much. But she says, I am so jealous of how you are living. I live in a beautiful duplex in Florida, and if I had the guts, I would be you.
We don't have any guts.
No. So I thought what we would talk about, of course, as you do this more and more and more, you get more experienced and you get more comfortable with this way of life.
Yes.
But let's be honest, dear. Why don't we? It was, let's be honest, about the first day when we left on March the 1st, 4 years ago, when we pulled out of the driveway and dropped the keys on the kitchen counter in that house, and we were gone from that house. Honestly, myself, I was a nervous wreck. I tried not to show it, but I was a nervous wreck. I'm thinking,
what have we done?
What have we done? Yeah. How did you feel about it, dear? I mean, let's be open and honest right now.
I was excited, but here I was moving from a 1,200 square foot house with a big, nice yard.
Actually, this house was almost 17.
And it was into a 70-foot trailer.
Yeah, because that one was the 7x16. So do the math.
And we had built it, and we'd never built a trailer before. Did we really know everything that we did was right?
Did we know the ins and outs?
No.
Yeah.
But I was also excited because it was an adventure.
Yes. And while we're being honest here, we'll go ahead and tell you something else you probably didn't know. This was a choice that we had to make. The house we were living in, we were leasing it, and we had two choices. We loved that house, absolutely loved that house.
Very comfortable home.
In a really, really nice neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And we could buy the house, and we could have bought it worth the money at the time.
Yes.
Especially with what real estate has done since.
Yes. Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah. But here was the thing. We knew that if we went ahead and bought the house, and we were up into our mid-60s, we knew that at least one of us would have to continue working.
That's right.
In order to pay the bills. And we had talked about doing this, dreamed about doing this lifestyle for years. Long before the rest of the family knew we had this in mind. We had always talked about it, just among ourselves, Deb and I.
It was a someday thing. Oh, everybody
right.
I worked with knew that this was a someday thing.
Yeah.
Someday I'm going to travel the United States.
Right, and we still got a lot of traveling left to do if we're going to truly travel the whole United States. That's for sure. But and the thing about me was every winter I would say I'm not spending another winter where I have to deal with snow and cold and all that.
I'm not going to do this anymore.
And so that's why we, for the last, 3 years or 4 years, we've been coming to Florida in the wintertime. When we could, 3 years.
3 years.
3 years, yeah. So, but that was, that was the main reason why. And we didn't want to continue working.
No.
We were going to have to be able to travel as inexpensively as possible.
And so then we figured, okay, what's your major expense? Is a motel room if you travel.
Yeah.
Food we don't count because you're going to eat anyway. But your motel expense and of course fuel for your rig. But so we knew that we couldn't do that very often.
Right.
And so.
But through research and through watching YouTube videos, and first we looked into the Thousand Trails campground thing.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't for us.
The way it was set up. Plus, we weren't sure because we intended on building a cargo trailer conversion. We weren't certain that. In fact, I called them and talked to them, and they said some park managers would accept us and others would not.
So they couldn't guarantee it.
Right.
So
so then we discovered the Corps of Engineer campgrounds and the federal campgrounds and the fact that we qualified for the America the Beautiful Senior Pass, and all of a sudden the numbers started coming together.
All of a sudden it was working itself out, and anyway.
So as far as the financial part was concerned, with our limited income, and I'm talking just what we draw on Social Security, we had pretty much figured that we could do this, if we were careful and watched our fuel consumption and stayed at each Corps of Engineer campground 2 weeks at a time before we moved to the next one.
2 weeks at a time,
yeah.
and limit our eating out.
Yeah.
Buying groceries, cooking at home. Anyway, those types of things.
Some of that changed because we got tired of sitting in the same place 2 weeks. And
2 weeks
so
got
then we
too
went to
long
1
after
week.
A bit.
Then now and then we go down to 3 days. But back to having the intestinal fortitude.
Yeah, the guts.
To do this. I was a nervous wreck.
It was a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Basically.
I was, here was the things that I was concerned about, which didn't bother Deb because she always trusts me to take care of these things, And and I will admit this, it's great that we have each other because I depend on her for a lot of the things that I don't want to have to deal with, and she has no trouble with it, and then she depends on me, and we're willing to work together when we need each other for these things, so that makes a big difference.
Well, it goes from, okay, we have to put all of our payments or our bills, all that has to be done online because we're not in one location.
Right.
My next thing was, how on earth am I going to cook a meal with this much countertop?
But boy, you figured it out. I think I've gained some weight.
I know. We figured it all out.
But my biggest concern, of course, was mechanical things. What if we have major car issues? What if this? What if that? Things that had happened to me in the past was always in the back of my mind. Years and years ago, I was towing a trailer and it came loose. So those kind of things worried me.
And our daughter says, Mom, what if you get sick when you're out there?
Yeah.
So, these are all things we had to overcome in our own mind.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is our own mind. But be prepared.
Right. So, with me, my anxiety, my biggest anxiety, and I didn't finally get to where I didn't have that kind of anxiety till probably a year and a half ago. But my biggest anxiety is the day we had to move to the next campground, especially when we were traveling in areas like rural Arkansas where the roads are super narrow and they're like this, towing the trailer, other crazy drivers around us that would get impatient with us and things like that.
We learned to leave the campground on a Monday and arrive on a Monday.
That was a big thing, yeah.
Because
that was your idea, by the way.
That's, Sunday is Mass Exodus Sunday. That's when all the weekend people are leaving a campground. You don't need to be tied up in that.
Yeah.
So leave on a Monday, arrive at your next location on a Monday. Traffic seems to be less.
Yeah.
It's less hectic.
Yeah, it seemed to work out better all the way around. Little bitty things that we noticed here and there. But the first year, I was very intense sitting in the driver's seat. With the wheel like this.
But we limit our travel time.
Yeah. And that helped a bunch, trying to limit it to no more than 4 hours.
Because that's all the stress we need for one travel day.
And we did have car trouble one time. If y'all ever watched that video about the time when our water pump went out,
yes.
that was the day from heck.
Yeah, but we dealt with it.
We did.
And we survived it.
We did. But it was a day from heck. I mean, not only did we have the water pump go out, and then we just happened to be a gentleman, but there happened to be a gentleman pull into the truck stop, and he pulled in and saw us with the hood up, and steam coming out, and I told him I thought the water pump was out, and he said, yeah, that's kind of what it looks like to me. And then I asked him, I said, do you know of anyone that can help me swap this out? Because I had never swapped a water pump on this particular kind of motor. If it was a small block Chevy, I could have done it with my eyes closed, but I wasn't familiar with this one. Anyway, I asked him, I said, do you know of someone? And he says, yeah. And I said, who's that? He said, me. So, and it just happened to work out. And then O'Reilly Automotive actually delivered the water pump and everything we needed to where we were.
Which I was amazed.
Yeah, which was cool. Oh, I used that word cool. It was neato. But anyway, it was a bad day.
It was.
Because after that, we got lost. Google took us down a cow trail, and we never got turned around. It was raining. We were both soaking wet. We pulled finally found the campground, 10, 11 o'clock at night.
11 o'clock at night, which is against our rules, as y'all know.
Right. And, of course, it was very low lighting in this particular campground.
Very dark.
And as I was pulling up to the booth, which, of course, there was nobody there, but I was on pavement, I had my window down, and I heard this plop, 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 and lo and behold, we had a flat tire on top of everything else. So, yeah, it was one of those days.
But now it gives us a story to tell.
Oh, yeah. It's a great story to tell. But, yeah, it hasn't always, and we've talked about this before. It's not
always a bowl of cherries.
No, it isn't. We've done a video about that before. But.
And we have dealt with mechanical issues. We've dealt with sickness. We've dealt with several things.
Yeah.
But what we have found is if you just think about it a minute, you'll figure it out.
But all in all, in the end, we've been through some trying times in our travels.
In the last 4 years.
Yeah,
yes.
In our travels in the last 4 years. Had a few issues here and there, and there were, I had some misgivings that I did not share with Deb, about the whole thing. But all in all, it's been absolutely awesome.
Yes, and we have met truly some wonderful people.
Yeah, I mean...
People that have become friends, and we contact them, often.
Yeah, yeah, we got bunches of friends in here right now.
Well, yeah, already here.
I wish we could have went kayaking with him today, but unfortunately we had too much to do to get ready for the rendezvous. But there's probably 8 people out in kayaks right now. Yeah,
on this beautiful day
on the Santa Fe River.
And I'm here.
Which we want to do, but maybe we can do that later after everything. But I'll tell you one thing though that we found. I don't want to say that made us surprised, but it was very enlightening very. It was good to see what we have been seeing lately. Is we've seen a lot of single ladies traveling. You know, either towing small RVs,
driving vans, or
in
Class A's.
custom vans. Yeah, there's this one lady we know that actually travels in a Class A that we met. You know, by themselves.
By themselves.
And the one that sticks out in my mind more than anyone else, and I don't know if you remember her or not, but it was there in Arkansas, and she pulled in towing that, it was about a 20-foot trailer, and she was in her 80s, and she was driving a big Ford diesel pickup, if you'll recall, and she whipped in there, and she was there all by herself, and we got to know her real well, and she did have to have a little bit of help backing in. She had a little trouble backing in, and another gentleman
in the campground
offered to help her do that, and she let him do it. And I was driving by one day, and I noticed, I was looking at her tires. I was a little concerned, and her tires looked a little low to me. So I stopped in and asked her if she would mind if I would go ahead and check the air in her tires, and yeah, they were low. So I pulled out my compressor and we plugged it in, and we aired up her tires because I didn't want her to take a chance, you know, on having a blowout.
And she was, you know, this was one of the first times she had gone by herself. She was a little apprehensive.
Her husband had recently passed away.
But she was determined that she was going to do this.
She said, we did this together, and I'm determined that I'm going to keep doing it.
Doing it.
Our hats were off to that lady.
Absolutely.
But we see a lot of women out there traveling.
And single men traveling by themselves.
Yeah.
There's a lot of men traveling by themselves.
Yep.
And, you know, it's a mindset, it's a lifestyle, but I think for the most part they're not lonely once they get to a campground.
No. Most of them, some of them kind of stay to themselves. We've noticed some that still kind of stay to themselves, but then we've seen where others have been very outgoing, and there's usually lots of people to meet. I mean, people be walking around. Of course, with us, what happens with us if we're in a campground where there's all traditional RVs and they see our cargo trailer,
they immediately have a conversation starter.
And did you build that? And then of course they got to ask us about the mini split and all this stuff. So that's how we get to know a lot of people.
Absolutely.
It's just through those kind of conversations.
Before you know it, you're sitting around just talking.
Yeah, but you know, here we are. You know, I'm 70 now, and Deb is not.
That is correct. We'll never be.
But I try to think about maybe where I would have been had we have not done this. Where, you know,
if we had kept the house.
If we kept the house, what would I be doing now?
Working.
You know, trying to work. And then when I wasn't working, I'd be sitting in an easy chair. And,
you'd have to be working because I can't mow the yard anymore. You're just going to have to pay somebody to mow the yard.
Yeah. So, but we've been, you know, like I say, it's if you look at the whole picture, and if we had to do it over, you know, if it was 4 years ago, knowing what we know now, there'd be no question.
No.
Be no question.
I haven't regretted giving up the house.
No.
I haven't regretted any part of it. You know, you're a little nervous because everything's new, but then on the other hand, that makes an exciting adventure.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's not a problem. It's just something that you can figure out a solution to.
Yeah.
Overcome.
Yeah.
And so I strongly encourage anybody and everybody to do it.
Well, everybody's situation is different, and it's not, and this lifestyle is not for everybody, and yes, we know that.
But don't think that we had all of this courage to do it, because I don't feel like we did.
Yeah. We do need to tell you a quick story right quick, though, and it has to do with our daughter. And some of you if you came to the rendezvous in Arkansas, you got to meet our daughter, and she got up and did a few songs with me. But when we were building the first trailer, she was so against it you would not believe. She would not, wouldn't even talk about
She pretty much thought her parents had got off the deep end.
She would come to the house for dinner. You know, the family come to our house for dinner, and she wouldn't even look at the trailer as she walked by.
Nope.
She had never set foot in the red trailer at
was not interested.
all, you know. and then as time went on, her attitude kind of changed because she saw how we were doing physically and how we felt in a general rule and how much we were happy we were and how much we were enjoying it. And then when we had that beautiful spot on Beaver Lake, she she come out once a week
to swim
and go swimming. And then she told us about a conversation here a while back. She was talking to to a coworker, and the coworker mentioned that her parents are having health issues. They're in the same age area as we are, and they were beginning to have health issues. And she says, "Boy, it's just really rough, when your parents start getting older." And Melinda turns to her and says, "Well, my parents seem to be getting younger." So, and coming from her,
that's a biggie.
Yeah, from where we were and where we are now. And then lo and behold, she sends us a photo, and what they're going to be doing on Memorial Day, it's an Airbnb, but they actually are staying at a converted school bus that is set up as an Airbnb out in the woods somewhere, in the woods in Arkansas.
Yep.
And sent us a photo of it. So that's going to be an experience for them in this converted school bus,
Yes, it will.
Out there. So, but that's what they're doing. But anyway, we're going to let you go. It's really getting exciting now.
Yes.
A bunch more followers are going to be showing up beginning Friday.
Well, we got more coming in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Saturday, we've got some coming. We've even got a couple coming in from Canada.
Yeah.
That we have never met, which
That
we're
will be
excited
awesome.
to meet.
Sure enough.
And they've got a long drive.
And Tim made rice and beans last night.
Yeah.
And Denise made her famous
Upside down German
chocolate cake, and it was heavenly. And I know, in our last video or the one before that, I said, "Don't nobody bring any cakes and pies."
Yeah, we all knew that was redundant. We all knew that. Anyway.
But man, it was awesome. Anyway, we're going to let you go for now. This is Bill and Deb with I Ride Tiny House Adventures, and you know exactly what we're going to say. We are not camping.
We are living.
Y'all get out there, do some living, and we will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.